Hello, this is the Board of Education meeting being held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. I am calling the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. If you can please call the roll.
Mrs. Arvanites, Mrs. Assip,
Here.
Mrs. Hostler,
Here.
Mrs. Troutman,
Here.
Dr. Henry,
Here.
Mrs. Lewinsky,
Here.
Mr. Bresnahan.
Here.
6 board members present, 1 absent. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
I move that the Board of Education go into closed session for the following: the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, 5 ILCS 122C1, the placement of individual students in special education programs and other matters relating to individual students, 5 ILCS 122C10, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by Section 2.065 ILCS 122C21, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. 5 ILCS 122C11.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Assif, second by Mrs. Hostler. Please call the vote.
Mrs. Assip,
Yes.
Mrs. Hostler,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewinsky,
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman,
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan,
Yes.
Dr. Henry,
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites.
6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent. Motion passes. The board will move into closed session.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Education meeting being held on Tuesday, May 20th. It is 7:12 p.m. We are calling the meeting to order. We have 6 board members present and 1 absent at this time. I ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we'll start our evening tonight with our spotlights and recognition. First up, we have the FCCLA state competition. If you are here to be recognized for this, please step forward.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie Naraki, and I'm here with Jenna Callan to celebrate our 2024 to 2025 FCCLA state competitors. First, we'd like to give a big thank you to the school board and Dr. Campbell for giving us this moment. We also want to thank the York administration and continuing to support amazing family and consumer science opportunities for our students. And of course, thank you to the parents and our other FCCLA advisors for cheering on our students every step of the way. This group of students has worked so hard this year, showing off real-world skills in everything from culinary arts to fashion design. They've created portfolios, run events, taught lessons, practiced in open labs, and stayed late to get every detail just right. We wanted to give a quick overview of the events they competed in so that you can get a feel for just how impressive their work has been. Students, you can feel free to step forward as we describe your event. In Culinary Arts Star, students had 1 hour to prepare 2 restaurant-quality entrees, judged by professional chefs on technique, safety, and taste. For event management, students planned and hosted a full fine dining experience, designing menus, managing service, and running the event from start to finish. For our cookie and cake decorating, our students decorated cakes live using fondant or buttercream, all based on this year's sporting event theme. In the charcuterie board event, students created stunning, budget-friendly boards showcasing knife skills, creativity, and food safety. Focus on Children featured students leading hands-on babysitting workshops for local Girl Scout troops, blending fun with real-life skills. In preschool lessons, students designed and taught creative, engaging lessons to preschoolers, complete with visual and teaching aids. Our fashion construction star had students sewing garments from patterns and creating displays that explained their process and techniques. In fashion design, students developed original fashion lines, built portfolios, constructed garments, and presented branding and cost analysis. Interior design students solved client design challenges with full floor plans, furnishings, and design boards that they pitched to judges. In repurpose and redesign, students created fashionable garments from recycled materials and presented their designs with marketing plans. Apparel construction students sewed garments in specific categories like casual or formal wear. Then they modeled and presented their work. And in Say Yes to FCS, students explored teaching careers by observing classrooms, interviewing educators, and teaching their own lessons. We are so proud of all of our FCCLA competitors. They've demonstrated incredible creativity, professionalism, and passion in their events, and they've truly brought family and consumer sciences to life. Our students will be competing in nationals this summer, so to our students heading to nationals in Orlando this summer, good luck, have fun, and we can't wait to see you represent York proudly.
Congratulations to all of you. This is yet one more opportunity we have to highlight all of the opportunities and experiences that are available to our students here in District 205, which is just fantastic. And the classes that students take in this area definitely set them up for success, whether they choose to pursue these things in college or as a career or just in their adult life. They're just really, really great things to know. And thank you to our staff who provide all the opportunities for our students and the competitions and the experiences to do this and La Brigade and all the great things in that area. So thank you so much. I'm just going to read the proclamation. Whereas the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA, is a national career and technical student organization that provides opportunities for personal growth, leadership development, and career preparation for students in family and consumer sciences courses. And the FCCLA State Leadership Conference and Competitions were held April 9th through 11th, 2025 in Springfield, Illinois, where students developed presentations, demonstrated technical skills, and showcased knowledge through a variety of competitive events aligned with family and consumer sciences coursework. And your community high school students achieved tremendous success at the conference, earning 16 gold medals and 14 silver medals, with all awards based on individual competition scores. And 9 students from York FCCLA qualified to advance to the National FCCLA Leadership Conference to be held in Orlando, Florida in July. Students advancing include Alice Moyle, April Vero, and Mackenzie Stepanek. Thank you. In event management, Madeline Tresnak and Ada Duell in Focus on Children, Sienna Kleinberg and Lucy Savage in Interior Design, Madeline Valesky in Repurpose and Redesign, and Madeline Brooks in Say Yes to FCS Education. And students also excelled in state-level proficiency events, with Lily Zermal earning the most outstanding distinction in apparel construction, semi-formal, formal wear, and Elizabeth Kehoe in fondant cake decorating level 2. And gold medalists from York FCCLA include Alice Moyle, April Vero, Mackenzie Stepanek, Madeline Tresnak, Ada Duell, Sienna Kleinberg, Lucy Savage, Madeline Valesky, Madeline Brooks, Mason Jungles, Lily Zermal, Tara Freund, Nora Heflin, Sophie Fallon, Grace Jensen, and Ann Heflin. Silver medals were awarded to Madison Kleinberg, Nathan Gumbarzik, Olivia Stockard, Shara Crane, Aaron Collins, Salin Jones, Sophie Thomas, Belen Velazquez, Aiden Darkia, Novena Thakar, Elizabeth Kehoe, Ella Huang, Azra Goswala, and Jamie Roel. And these accomplishments bring distinction and pride to York Community High School, to District 205, and the greater Elmhurst community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education and Administration of Elmhurst Community Unit School District 205 formally recognize and congratulate these students, their families, and the dedicated educators of the Family and Consumer Sciences Department for their outstanding achievements and exemplary representation of York High School. Congratulations to all of you.
Great job, and thank you to the staff who work with our students, but also the parents who support this area for their children. Good luck at nationals for those of you who are going. Okay, and next up, we will have the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science. If you are here for that award, please step up. Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Krista Rajanan, very proud principal of Jackson Elementary, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce Abby Sweeten as a nominee for this prestigious award. Each year, through the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching, the President of the United States recognizes outstanding educators from across the country who teach science, technology, engineering, or mathematics at either an elementary or secondary grade level. Recipients of the Presidential Award represent the best of STEM education, demonstrating deep content knowledge of the subjects they teach and the ability to motivate and enable student success. More than 5,200 awardees have been recognized since the program was established by Congress in 1983. The award winners reflect the expertise and dedication of the nation's STEM teaching corps, and they demonstrate the positive impact of excellent teachers on student achievement. The National Science Foundation administers PAMPST on behalf of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Thank you.
You know, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, we think locally our teachers are rock stars, but then, like, okay, they get recognized by the state. That's really cool. But you've been recognized on a federal level, and that's amazing. And I think even more important to highlight is that you were nominated by community members. So you're having like direct impact on our students in this community. I think that is just such a gift, and I appreciate you so much. So for the official board proclamation, whereas the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching represent the highest honor bestowed by the United States government, specifically for K-12 science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and/or computer science teaching. And whereas Abby Sweeten, an exceptional educator at Jackson Elementary, was nominated by a parent for this prestigious recognition in the area of mathematics education, and whereas Ms. Sweeten completed an extensive and rigorous application process, including submission of a full classroom lesson video, reflective essays, and evidence of her impact on student learning. And whereas in March 2024, Abby Sweeten was named one of the only 3 state-level finalists from Illinois in mathematics, an incredible achievement that speaks to her talent, dedication, and excellence in instruction. And whereas Ms. Sweeten was recently honored at an awards ceremony recognizing PAMPST finalists, I'm not sure if I'm saying that acronym right, but, and their significant, I should have read the whole thing again, and their significant contributions to advancing STEM education in schools. And whereas her commitment to inspiring a love of learning and building strong mathematical foundations in her students exemplifies the values of Elmhurst Community Unit School District 205. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Elmhurst Community Unit School District 205 Board of Education proudly recognizes Abby Sweeten for her outstanding achievement as a finalist for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching, and extends its heartfelt congratulations and appreciation for her exemplary service to her students and the community. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Abby, and good luck in the next round. Next up, we have Edison Elementary School Spotlight.
Hello, President Board, Board President Athena Arvanitis, Dr. Campbell, Board of Education, and Cabinet members. Thank you for inviting Edison to participate in the Elmhurst School District 205 Board meeting. In the past 3 years, Edison has shared information and slides with our board about our instructional coach, the makerspace room and the LMC in our school building, and how Edison empowers 4th and 5th graders to be leaders in our building. Go there. Today I'd like to share Edison's student achievement and growth, and that's coming from 2003 and 24, or I'm sorry, 23 and 24. I'd like to share that growth and how we developed and implemented an adult learning plan for our professional development for our teachers. In 2023 and 24, we created learning arcs for our teachers that were based upon staff surveys and PLC meetings. And these arcs focused on areas of completing all of the math modules in Eureka Math and completion of all of the components of the math lessons in Eureka Math. And we also focused on the aspects of rigor, which include conceptual learning, fluency, and application. In these areas for focus, what we found from our teachers was the fall pre-survey of how they were implementing fluency, which is one of the components of the Eureka Math lessons. And you can see from this graph that in some ways it's a little bit hard for me to read because we were showing or we weren't implementing the full Eureka Math lessons at a regular pace. And we can see that some of the data that was saying 1 to 2 times per week we were implementing fluency. So we did some professional development. We taught teachers what we were expecting from them, and we showed them why the importance of teaching all of these lessons in all of the completion of the lessons was important, and how we continued to keep pace with Mr. Beatty's suggested timing and pacing for the school year. And you'll see in the spring where we ended up with our post-survey. That means that almost all of our teachers were teaching 92% of our fluency in the lessons that they were teaching every day. Now, we have a graph like this for each and every one of our components for Eureka Math, and this is important because in each one of those graphs, they look very, very similar, and our staff has made significant strides in working through the components, making sure that they're pacing themselves properly and correctly to work through what the students are learning. And we had some pushback at first. We really, really did have some pushback about how the students were learning and what they were learning at a pace that we were asking them to go at. Once they saw the results, once they saw how things were working for the students and the amount of energy that the kids had, they were sold. They understood that this was the pace that they needed to continue on. And as we continued with our professional development throughout that school year in Eureka Math and focusing on why we should be doing, why we should be focusing on the math pieces, these are the comments that the teachers came away with. The math learning this year confirmed the importance of each Eureka Math lesson component and gained an appreciation of fluency and sprints in an instructional tool, prep for a review of skills that would truly benefit students in today's lessons of improving fluency. We had teachers from the next grade level saying that our students aren't really fluent in what they were in their calculations. Well, our teachers were not doing the job of understanding and teaching that fluency. Once we started teaching that, we saw an improvement in the students' fluency and how they can continue to make those fluency gains grow. So I was really proud of how the teachers and how they were able to work through the struggles that they had to learn and to continue to learn. And the results are speaking for themselves. This is where we were at in 23-24. We focused on growth. That 92% of our students had expected high growth on IAR ELA. 94% of our students had expected or high growth on IAR math. And Edison's overall IAR ELA and math growth continued to be higher than expected. We also had our bilingual and our IEP students that were outperforming their previous scores. And the emergent bilingual students had expected proficiency results by ECRICS in both ELA and math on IAR. We outpaced that. Our students with IEPs outperformed expected proficiency results in ECRIS in both ELA and math. Our teachers did the work to make sure that these results were very, very visible and observable for their work. We also had our growth in IAR, and I'm really looking forward to seeing our IAR information from this year that we just finished taking, but this is from last year, that third grade had 9 percentage points higher in ELA. Fourth grade, 12% higher points in ELA. Fourth grade, 6%. Fifth grade, 27 percentage points higher in ELA. And our fifth grade had 27 percentage points higher in math. Our teachers were really growing. They took this professional development seriously, and they really, really started to build themselves up to make sure that they were giving back to their students in the classrooms. I'd like to introduce our assistant principal, Mrs. Melissa Kasepko. She's going to talk about some of the things that we are currently achieving.
So the next few slides are our map data from fall of 2024 to spring of 2025. These strategies that the teachers have learned and have unpacked have proven not to just be one-year strategies, but have shown through the growth and the achievement that these strategies and all the work that has been done with Eureka will continue for years to come. This is a part of our practice now. This is what teachers do on a daily basis. We are finding out and gathering information that almost all of our grade levels have completed all of the modules and lessons in the Eureka curriculum. So we're really excited to see our IR data after that. So if we focus a little bit on, my apologies, on kindergarten math, the growth and the achievement, as you can see, there was achievement between the fall and the spring. Same thing in first grade math, high achievement in fall to spring. And as we continue on through second, third, and fourth grade math, you can see that there's similar trends, that there's high growth and high achievement. As we move into fifth grade, again, another similar trend that we did have high growth and high achievement. And if you look at the bottom, that is a 4-quadrant map from NWA. And Edison, all of our grade levels fell in the higher achievement, high growth quadrant. So as you can see, we have had a lot of growth at Edison this school year with our map data. So that is Edison School. Thank you so much for having us here this evening.
Thank you for your presentation, and Mr. Piscota, just a few last words.
You don't have to do this.
Just a sincere congratulations on behalf of the Board of Education on your retirement, but more importantly, the years of service and commitment and loyalty that you really gave to our district and really our kids. And I just want to thank you on behalf of the board for your time and efforts and commitment. And it's so nice to see the impact that leadership and quality PD and what leadership can do for kids. And so thank you for being a model of that for our district, and we wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All right. What time am I at? Sorry, 7:35. All right, public comments. We're on to the public comment section of the board meeting, which provides an opportunity for community members to share information and perspectives with the Board of Education. And while the board does not respond during public comments, we are listening and thoughtfully considering the messages being shared. Each of us have high expectations for our community, and we ask that public comments are respectful and do not mention any individuals by name. The way in which we publicly engage when sharing differing perspectives is an opportunity to model healthy and respectful discourse for our students and greater community, while creating an environment of collaboration and partnership. There will be up to 30 minutes allocated for public comments, with up to 3 minutes per public comment speaker concerning items on this agenda. The board vice president will give a reminder when you have 30 seconds left. We'll begin with our first speaker.
Our first speaker is Michelle McArdle.
Good evening. My name is Michelle McArdle. I am the parent of a current second grade student at Lincoln Elementary. I want to first say that I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak here and that I value deeply the positive relationships fostered with D205 leadership, our school principal, and all of our wonderful teachers. And I have appreciated the open communication we have all had leading up to tonight on the topic of classroom sizes. It was brought to our attention that Lincoln plans to remove a section of third grade for the 25-26 school year. Our classroom sizes will go up 30% year over year from 20 to 26 to 27. I am very concerned that this is not optimal and in the best interests of both teachers and students alike. I am here tonight to ask that this could be reconsidered. There is a direct correlation between classroom size and learning. A lower student-teacher ratio is optimal, and high-ranking schools have much lower student-to-teacher ratios. The district is leaning on REACH as being a way to manage these large classroom sizes, and my concern is that REACH is a short period of time during the day where the class size may or may not be impacted materially. The physical space available in these classrooms also does not feel conducive to a good learning environment with this many kids. More kids inevitably means more distractions that will impact our children's ability to focus. And lastly, but also just as importantly, it's going to take a tremendous effort day in and day out for our teachers to keep this many students focused and on task, and we want to retain our wonderful, experienced teachers. I understand we are aiming for consistency throughout the district, but consistency within the school itself seems important as well. It is my understanding that the incoming third grade class will be the only grade level at Lincoln with 3 sections. All other grade levels have 4. Lincoln is a brand new school and was built with 4 classrooms in each neighborhood, and we have 4 sections now. Lincoln has high standards, and surrounding districts have high standards too with smaller classroom sizes. I feel disappointed that I have to accept our standards are being lowered. We are one of the wealthiest districts in the state, and it would be wonderful to find ways to keep our classroom sizes small. I share my concerns here respectfully but sincerely. I am quite simply a concerned mom who wants a great education for my children. Thank you for your time and listening. It is greatly appreciated.
Our next speaker is Kara McDyer.
Hi, I'm here for a similar reason. I'm a mom at Jackson Elementary School, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen tonight. So I am the mother of 4 students in this district and also a teacher, and I am very concerned about the increase in class size for Jackson Elementary coming up next year. We're also going from 4 to 3 sections. And as a teacher, we know, like in third grade, the big difference is instead of learning how to read, they're reading to learn. And it's concerning to have very big class sizes where the teacher can't support everyone the way that they would like to. And so I'm also concerned about how the teachers will handle behavior management when they have that many students in a small classroom. And just being able to truly support kiddos with IEPs and ELL learners and things like that. And then just the physical safety of the kids of having so many students in a classroom. They're not really made for that many kids. And finally, just even with all the technology that we're using in classrooms, like how can teachers really support and keep the children safe when there's that many kids? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who took the time to voice their concerns, support, and perspectives with the Board of Education. Common practice of the board is to follow up with public commenters after the board meeting as needed. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Item 6 on our agenda is board meeting minutes. approval of regular board meeting minutes, April 22nd, 2025, and the committee of the whole meeting minutes, May 7th, 2025. Are there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, those meeting minutes stand as presented. And then the approval of closed session minutes from April 22nd, 2025, those meeting minutes stand as presented. Now, item 7, we're on to board reports. We have a student services update, and I will pass it over to Dr. Campbell.
Each year, the Board of Education reviews information from the Student Services team regarding our efforts to specifically serve students with disabilities. Student Services, as Dr. Rubenstein will share, is a department that has various components and ways in which they support our students across the district. This particular presentation is going to zero in on our supports and the progress and the work that's being done to service our students that have differentiated needs. At this time, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Rubenstein, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campbell. So good evening to members of the Board of Education and members of the public who are here to watch my presentation. I mean, I know that's why we came. So, we are going to dive right into it, and we really are D205. Everything that Student Services does it encompasses so much, as you will see, all across the district to really make sure that students have the support services that they need in order to do well. So when you look at our strategic plan for the district and look under student success, there are components that encompass student services. Under learning environment, financial and operational effectiveness, and community partnerships, all of those touch on student services and what we do, and they're all a part of the student journey of excellence. Just a short bit of history here for people who are new to this presentation, but back in 2018, there was feedback that was received, which identified some opportunities to strengthen services for students with disabilities. We had parents who were reporting some challenging experiences at IEP meetings. There was some inadequate administrative staffing levels to support special education really specifically. And so that was causing a lot of people from district office rather than school-based administrators to be included in those meetings. Outcomes for our students were inconsistent, and the curriculum and courses that our students who were in separate programs was not really well aligned. And so at that time, the district conducted a review of their special education programs, and among other changes that were recommended, there was a special education administrative reorganization. That was when we brought on directors of student services and brought on more assistant principals. That was one of the original purposes there. We started implementing the use of facilitated IEPs, which is a really specific way to ensure that parents are involved as partners at the table. We enhanced programming and really provided some new curricular programs along the way. And we have made reports to the Board of Education. I didn't make it in 2020, but in 2022, and 2023, and 2024. So really have been updating the board about the process along the way. And just a little bit about who or what are student services. So we are required by law to provide special education services for any student who needs them ages 3 through the age of 22. And so we have students at Madison Early Childhood who on their 3rd birthday come to us and begin their services, all the way through our transition services at Bridges, where sometimes they go past their 22nd birthday as the law now requires. It is an effort to provide specialized instruction, climate and culture support, social emotional learning, lots of individual assessments, college and career planning, and so much more. And those are just several of the team members that are a part of our student services team across the district. district. So you can see lots of people ranging from our special education case managers, speech language pathologists, our educational assistants, and special education teachers to our deans and counselors and so many more. When we look at the percentage of students served at each grade level, this has remained, the numbers or percentages have remained fairly consistent across the grade levels, but we are serving between 14 and 20% of students at each grade level district-wide. You can see that that's a little bit higher at early childhood at Madison because that's required who we would serve there. So a little bit less than half of their students there are students with disabilities, and then it goes up again at because 12th grade and transition are included in those numbers together. For a variety of reasons, the number of students served has increased over the last 3 years. Really, this year you'll see that it's about a 5% increase year over year again. And what that means for us is that we have all of these numbers add up to a little bit over 1,500 students. So we have 1,500 individual meetings with parents and families about their specific student. And that's the way that the law intended, is for parents and families to come together with their school district and come to some sort of agreement about how we're going to educate students with disabilities across the district. Another 9% of our students across the district are eligible for services under Section 504. That number has also continued to increase over the years. We serve around 80 students who are eligible under the McKinney-Vento Homeless Act. So that number is down slightly this year, but still much more than we were serving several years ago under that program. The district holds a meeting, as I was saying, at least annually for every single student, and we also partner with SACID, which is our special education cooperative, to provide services for students with disabilities. So we contract with them specifically for our occupational therapy and physical therapy services, along with several others. And Dr. Campbell serves as a member, as required, of their board of directors. Students with disabilities are diverse. There is not one specific group of students that is going to describe a student with a disability. We have more than 1,500 students with disabilities across the district, as I said. The largest serving category has remained other health impaired, but we have seen increases in autism and specific learning disability over the course of the years. Just to zero in on that other health impairment, that would encompass things like anxiety, ADHD, some of those sorts of medical conditions that would require specialized instruction for students. Similar districts of our size and scope across the state are identifying more students under the category of specific learning disability. And then just some quick statistics. 20.4% of our students with disabilities are also English learners. So they also are receiving services under or from an EL specialist. Another 26.4% of our students with disabilities also receive free and reduced lunch. So there's some overlap there. And amongst our students with disabilities, more than 30 languages are spoken in the home. And so again, what that means is we are required to, and it is also good practice, to provide all of our documents, all of our pieces in those translated languages to provide for meaningful parent participation. So just when we think about preparation for meetings and what that looks like for the 1,500 students across the district, that's a lot of work and a lot of preparation and a significant amount of resources that go into it. I would say that we are also inclusive as a district in our programming. And so we serve more than 70% of our students inside the regular classroom, 80% or more of the day. We have really worked hard over the past several years to align those programs. That is an important statistic here because students with disabilities who spend 80% or more of their day in the general education setting certainly show stronger academic outcomes, better social integration, and higher post-school success. And so that's really just an important piece there about why we serve to and strive to serve those students in the general education as much as possible. When we look at our continuum of special education services, just a little bit of a reminder about what we have. So on the left side of the screen there, under home and hospital placement, we have very few students placed there. It is the most restrictive setting because you're being educated not even with other students. It's a really individualized instruction, and so it's more restrictive. All the way over to the right side of the screen, where we're serving students in general education with accommodations. And so we have lots of students served in that setting, as I said, and is a far less restrictive setting. And we have got students in every single one of these categories in between, where we're working with students who are requiring a residential placement or a therapeutic day school, or are being served within one of our specialized programs. Sometimes it's in a resource program or in a co-taught setting, but really we serve students where they're at. We are also achieving as students with disabilities. And so when we look at our achievement over the past several years on the ELA portion of the Illinois Assessment of Readiness, the scores of Elmhurst students with disabilities have really continued to increase. You can see that we're the third highest amongst our competitors in the area. Those scores there have increased by 16.1 points over the last 5 years, 16.1 points over the last 5 years. That's more than double since 2021. Math achievement, we are now the highest achieving school district for students with disabilities, and that has also continued to increase. We've increased by 8.5 percentage points since 2021, so something that we are particularly proud of. We, at the high school, during the last year, 36% of our students met the evidence-based reading and writing benchmarks, and 14% of our students met the math benchmarks. You can see there, this has really been a focus of our team during the 24-25 school year, with a really close examination of our co-taught settings. That's going to continue into the next school year here. Introduction of some new curricular materials, both in Gen Ed, as you've heard about, but also in our special education settings to better align that. And we provided more time to prepare for curriculum changes in our specialized classrooms at the high school, really specifically. In our multi-needs classroom and in our structural setting, we provided specialized planning and curriculum time for those teachers in those classrooms. So we are also growing. So on the ELA growth percentiles, on the Illinois Assessment of Readiness, students with disabilities have had average growth percentiles when compared to neighboring school districts. We are outperforming our comparison school districts in the area related to math growth, which is really something that we are excited to report to the board this evening. The ways that we're doing that is that we have continued to work to align our curriculum and our professional development in our supplemental ELA curricular materials over the course of the last year. We have been implementing illustrative math at the middle and high school levels, and specifically our instructional program. When that was brought on as a district, we really worked together. I worked with Carrie Leischel and Dave Beatty and several other people from my team to make sure that the scope and sequence could still be achieved by students with disabilities in our district, maybe at a different pace. And so working with that company and the publishers, we were able to do that really well. We've expanded some professional learning in our evidence-based programs and provided really targeted learning over the course of this year with a focus on ELA with learning and teaching. So we provided a really strong professional development opportunity for all of our special education teachers, K-8, really related to reading and how to teach reading and what that should look like aligned to our current programs. We have expanded the use of evidence-based programs for our speech-language pathologist, and something that the board approved a couple years back is the use of FastBridge as a progress monitoring tool, and so we've continued to expand the implementation of that. We are also collaborative, as those students at Lincoln Elementary School are, standing in that circle in collaboration. And the way that we do that is by providing support and understanding for families. So for the first time this year, we provided a special education parent night to support their understanding of the facilitated IEP model. We have continued to offer surveys after every single IEP meeting. While we get a low response rate overall, the feedback that is provided to us is remarkably positive. And so you can just see some of those pieces that are reported there on the screen. And we continue to partner with the Special Education Resource Group, or SURGE, for transition evenings and other events. So as students transition from one level to the next, partnering with them to make sure that our students and their families are supported appropriately. We've also continued to provide and expanded the use of our mental health first aid training. We have rolled out this year some concierge mental health services through 205 Cares, which initially was a part of a grant that we received for $250,000 from the state. That's now moved, since that money was used up, that's now moved into a concierge service. So if I am a family who needs mental health services or really like ABA services, I can utilize a service provided through 205 Cares to get into contact with providers in the area. So they've got 200 or 300 providers in the Chicagoland area, but really in the western suburbs, because we do it with a lot of our partner school districts, and that's been a service that has really been utilized very positively. We became a Special Olympics unified school this year. We're looking to expand some programming there. So one of the things that I have heard about that is the potential for golf, unified golf in the future, and continue to offer social events in partnership with Surge. And there is lots of staff support. So we have continued to meet with our new special education professionals group, and we provide monthly meetings with our educational assistants. Some other pieces here are about how we are resourceful. And so when we look at our resources, most of the funding for people to understand comes from local dollars. However, those dollars are supplemented by federal dollars. So we get more than $1.8 million in funding from the federal IDEA flow-through grants and the preschool grants. So over the coming weeks and months, as this is talked about publicly at the federal level, this is something that we will be paying attention to. We get reimbursements through the Medicaid program. Again, this is coming up a lot in public debate right now. Those Medicaid reimbursement levels directly impact the school district and the services that we provide. We also get reimbursements from the state of Illinois for some students in separate educational settings and those with significant costs, but this is usually prorated, and we are looking at the possibility of more proration this school year than in the past. Just with the budget picture looking the way that it is in Springfield, needing to prioritize some things there. And then a little known fact for people is that a proportionate share of our funds are provided to private and parochial schools within the district's boundaries. So we meet with them several times throughout the year to provide, to make sure that they're being provided with services. The intent of the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is for all students, not just students in public schools, all students to be served appropriately. And so I will just finish up here as I started at the beginning, which is that we are D205. And so what's next for us? We are going to continue training our team members on the use of those tiered curricular materials, providing some professional learning on the use of the math curricular materials, continued alignment with Gen Ed when it comes to foundations, geodes, wit and wisdom, expansion of transition surveys for all students with disabilities beginning really in 7th grade, but making sure that all families can make those educated decisions when they really get to 8th grade and they become 14 and a half. And then just some continued work in the learning environment, supporting the expansion of welcoming, affirming, and engaging learning environments, the expansion of mental health first aid training, continued use of SWIS for behavior tracking, and the implementation of our discipline improvement plans and overall monitoring there. And then the continued use and expansion of the facilitated IEP model. So I know that the learning environment is really a strong focus for all of us. And so I just want to say that we are very much looking forward to engaging in a deeper dive on how we're supporting strong relationships between students and teachers, and what that looks like and how we do that really specifically, and how we create welcoming, affirming, engaging learning environments at future meetings. I know that we provided you with an update in September of this last year, and we plan to do a little bit more of that work at future meetings for you. So with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Rubenstein. Questions or comments from the board? Courtney?
Sorry, Beth.
Oh, go ahead. No, Beth, that's all right. I always get emotional during these presentations. I used to get angry. Now I get emotional. And that really does tell the journey of where we've been and where we are now. So I do want to thank you so much, the entire team. Not just how the IEP process has changed and the relationship between parents and the district and the journey that they're on together, but the effort you've put into providing more resources and more opportunities for our students. You know, I see it all the time, and it warms my heart so much. It's close to my heart, so I truly appreciate it. Even like the amount of time when you see that statistic that 71% of our students' time is in with general ed classes. That's where the most heartwarming and impactful social interaction and growth happens. I really feel that way. And so just kind of, we're doing a lot of great things in our district right now, but in my opinion, this is the most impactful and successful journey we've had since I've been on this board. And I do owe a lot of that to you, Dr. Rubenstein, steering that ship under the guidance of Dr. Campbell and your team, but I just really want to thank you and just make sure you understand how appreciative, I'll just say me, but I know so many families are, and the board is. I just have one quick question.
Absolutely.
What do you think, why do you think we're not growing as much in ELA as we are in math, right? We're knocking it out across the board in the IAR and, the other assessments. What do you think is holding, do you think it's because that stat of how many IEP students are English learners and 30 different languages? I've never heard that stat before, and that's kind of eye-opening to me. Do you think that's having an impact, and are there resources that those students need to try to, push that forward?
I think that is a part of the conversation. I also think that it goes to there have been several shifts in the preparation of our educators over the last however many years. And you can see in our math scores that there was significant amount of growth. There are lots of things that go into that, but one of the most significant things I would say for math was the concerted effort to develop our teachers about how specifically to teach math. So when you go to school as a special educator, you don't always get the same course content that an elementary school teacher would get. It is focused on understanding students with disabilities. There are some classes on individually teaching literacy specifically. Nobody has a course in math. That's not something that's required. And you're taught about how to make accommodations and what that should look like in the classroom. And so we are making and have focused some of our effort and attention on making sure that our staff have the development, that they know exactly how to teach reading. And so just as you publicly thanked me, I want to just thank our team of Colleen Cook and Colleen Jedi, our Director of Literacy and Director of Student Services, who have really put together that learning series for our teachers across the board. So our belief is that, not just a hope, our belief is that that will make an impact on those student growth scores this year. Thank you. And I just also to your comments, this has really been a team effort. I could name all of my team members here, but it's really been a team effort. And it's also thanks to the board for allowing us the resources and the space to really make things impactful in the way that we needed to do. So I appreciate that.
Well, that's nice, but the board has always supported this, and we haven't always had the right people in the right positions to make this happen. And so that's a testament to your entire team. It really is, because the board has always asked these same questions and always supported, putting these needs as a big priority, but the right people and the right, we're not in the right positions to make it happen. And they are now, and I'm just incredibly grateful.
Yes. Thank you.
Beth.
Yeah, just a comment. I had the opportunity to visit the Transition Center recently, and I just wanted to highlight that a little bit. We have these amazing hubs at either end of our organization in Madison Early Childhood Center and for our younger students, and then the Transition Center at, next to York for our students leaving York High School, special ed students. And a lot of people just don't understand exactly what happens there or what that looks like.
Yes.
Myself included in some areas until I got to go there and visit, and just seeing the services, the transition services that are offered to our families so that they understand what is available to their students at all levels. And, there's some programs that these families have to apply for years in advance.
Yes.
And if you aren't aware that they're available or you don't know how to do that, it can be very overwhelming and a lot to take on. So having somebody in our district to help students or families and guide them through that is just a blessing. So a shout out to the staff that's doing that work. And then the vocational preparation area. I don't know if that's what it's
Yes,
called, but that's what it looked like to
absolutely.
me. And, helping students to learn different skills there in that safe space that they would need to do a job that they're really looking forward to doing, or it's their goal to work in a certain place. And at the Transition Center, they help them learn those skills so that they can go into that job and be successful and feel confident in what they're doing. I mean, that was just like the most heartwarming thing, and all the work that was being done there for our community and the foundation, and those kids do a lot for our district.
Yes.
So I just wanted to highlight some of the work being done there and the staff, and say thank you for everything that's going on there and to your team.
Absolutely. We are very fortunate to have an outstanding team at our Bridges Transition Center, which is located just on the other side of the tracks from York High School in the Old Abbey Community Center, and it does exactly all of those things. And so we have students ages 18 to 22 who are out in the community for a good portion of their day, working at a job and making sure that they are ready for life after this as a student or a person with a disability, and what that should look like and how we support them appropriately. So there's lots of hard work going on there.
And I also appreciated the collaboration and connection with the College of DuPage and students that are able to take part in those programs
Yes.
and, get transportation to go there and take classes there?
Exactly
through
it,
that
with
program
support.
as well?
Yep, with support from a coach, a job coach, and a transition counselor to make sure that they are getting off on the right foot. So,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
For all that.
I just have a couple comments, and I think if I pull myself out of the weeds, and I really appreciate this continuum of special education services, because I think what non-educators, or I'll say parents, what parents see is what's happening and what the needs are for their child, but they don't necessarily understand the gamut of services that are needed to be provided by a school district to support all learners. And I thought that this continuum did a nice job of representing not only just all of those different categories, but it's about what I'm going to get into next, which is my reflection on the last 4 years and what I think I've seen shift in this area in our districts. And it's really that we've truly become very individualized and student-centered in how I think you're approaching, the way you explained how you're approaching your work with parents, your work with teachers, and developing all the supports necessary so that students can be in the most effective learning environment for them. And that requires time and patience. It's another opportunity. I think I'm going back to Mr. Pliskota's presentation, where professional development is so important in an organization as large as ours, but specifically in education, and seeing how professional development is having that positive impact to help kids as the end result, right? To improve their learning and their experiences. So that individualized, student-centered approach, I think, has always been a part of district philosophy, but that it's just much more predominant and a much deeper kind of reach today than I think it maybe was perceived to be in the past, but that partnership and collaboration with families. I'll leave it with, I thank you for calling out the other array or areas of student services, and look forward to hearing more about how we're building community in our schools for all students, positive community in our schools for all students. And so that'll be a great segment, I think, moving forward.
Yes.
So thanks for bringing that to our attention and doing the work to get that information to board members. Anything else from the board? Okay.
Can I just
Thank you
add
again.
one thing?
Yes, sir.
It would, our work isn't done. And so there is still a lot more work to do. There are, still students who need more support. There are still families who may leave an IEP meeting and feel frustrated. And it is still our responsibility as a school district to engage with those families, to engage with those students, to lean in harder to those conversations. And that is the work that we are really, really focused as a team on doing over the coming years as we continue this work. So, thank you.
That's great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item B, which is our technology update.
Yes, so buckle up. I know that we have 2 robust presentations, and so I really appreciate your attentiveness to our board and our community. This next presentation is really going to highlight the work that is being done within our technology department, as well as our teaching and learning department, and the integrated efforts to continue to really support in terms of our commitment to enhancing teaching and learning as aligned to our strategic plan. So you will hear from Mr. Rudy Gomez as well as Mr. Nick Stoyes. So I will turn it over to them at this moment.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Good evening, members of the board and community, and thank you for allowing me to give an update on things regarding technology and Nick on instructional technology. Tonight's presentation has highlighted our continued commitment to enhancing teaching and learning through purposeful technology integration and strategic planning. We'll share key updates, including the real successful Phase 1 rollout of MacBook laptops for our EC through 5 teachers. Our continued efforts in partnership with our learning and teaching department to align gradebook practices across EC through 8. And Mr. Nick Stoya will provide instructional technology highlights happening in our schools. Final highlights include the launch of the PowerSchool Parent Portal pilot that we've been piloting recently, recent advancements to cybersecurity enhancements, and a preview of just some of the summer projects to further enhance the district's instructional and operational goals. So we are in our final phase this coming summer for our staff in EC5 to move to Mac laptops that are designed to enhance instructional technology and streamline classroom integration across all grade levels. So here's a little bit brief timeline of our transition and how it began. Phase 1 of our EC5 MacBook Air transition focused on enhancing instructional technology for elementary educators and ensuring alignment with student devices. At the beginning of the 23-24 school year, 8 EC5 grade level teachers were selected to pilot MacBook Airs in their classrooms. Mid-year, we gathered feedback from staff and their experiences and instructional successes, which helped form the next phase. By the end of the year, survey data and principal input supported the purchase of 210 MacBooks for half of our elementary staff for the 24-25 school year. In the summer of 2024, these devices, along with refreshed iPads, were deployed and paired along with targeted professional learning on how to integrate them effectively into their classroom experience. This foundational work paves the way for fully integrated Apple devices of ecosystem in the classroom, supporting curriculum, collaboration, and student engagement. Phase 2 and the final phase is planned for this coming summer. Between both deployments, the district will have realized the savings of over $150,000 by switching platforms. So we have a short video from Elizabeth Kawa and Catherine Scott, and also the library media specialist, Kara Talbot from Field, just sharing their experiences.
So since I've started using the MacBook in my classroom, it's made it really easy to connect to the Clever Touch. I can easily hook up whatever lessons I'm trying to teach and put it up on the board for my students. It's also nice because I'm able to move around the classroom very easily. It's very light, nice and easy to carry and move things around with. It's also really helped me to plan my lessons and kind of keep things more efficiently organized, get everything set and ready to go so that I'm prepared each day to teach my students.
So the transition to Mac has been seamless for me. I've been a Mac user for all of my computer years, and it's great to have an operating system that is coherent and cohesive with what the students are doing.
Since adopting a MacBook Air in my classroom, I've noticed a lot more engagement with students and staff, more seamless integration with the tools. My third graders use a lot of digital tools and apps, and I'm able to, manage behaviors and activity through Apple Classroom. Students are also able to share a lot of their creations and presentations, movies that they make as, collaborative students through AirDrop, and it's made our classroom more fun and engaging.
So I want to thank them to Catherine, Elizabeth, and Carla for their sharing their experiences. So Dr. Campbell kind of alluded it at the beginning. Over the last several years, the collaboration and the amount of collaboration that continues to grow with the partnership from teaching and learning and technology, with all the needs from data and integrations, really is kind of been amazing journey. And this year we had kind of like a year-long project, which I'll highlight here in a bit, that really was a full year, but really brings the importance of that needed collaboration. Another wonderful thing about this, which I thought was really cool, is not only are we helping to support our teachers directly, which then has an impact in the classroom, but my team is also learning the why and the importance behind some of these projects that we've engaged in. So the partnership between the learning and teaching and technology departments has streamlined the pre-population of assignments and standards into EC5 gradebooks in PowerSchool. Following successful testing in July 2024, Trimester 1 ELA and math assignments were uploaded for elementary pilot teachers and all middle school courses by early fall. The technology team collaborated with curriculum leaders to ensure standard alignment and using teacher feedback to make improvements. And so it's important to highlight that teacher feedback is important, where my team actually goes out and meets with these individual teacher leads and gathers that feedback. By trimester 3, that content was uploaded in the spring. Both teams are now preparing assignments for next year to ensure continued consistency, accurate and instructional alignment. So this is this is actually what a teacher gradebook looks like. It's important to highlight that this effort across our technology and learning and teaching departments have allowed for reporting of common assessments across the district. Because of this aligned approach, the grading across the district at all of our schools, the technology team can run high-level reports for the learning and teaching team. The learning and teaching team then utilizes this data to promote the calibration of grading practices to identify specific students in need of enrichment and intervention. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Nick Stoyas for our instructional technology update.
Thank you, Rudy. Hi, everybody. This evening, I'm fortunate enough to highlight the work many of our classroom educators, library media specialists, and support teams are doing to promote and elevate inquiry, digital literacy skills, and local and global citizenship across the district. Tonight, we'll be highlighting 3 instructional technology impacts, including aligned and enriching curricular supports, cutting-edge library media programming, and emerging technology trends. This year, I facilitated an instructional technology teacher learning community focused on elevating instructional practices aligned with our K-5 social studies curriculum, Inquire Ed. This teacher learning community, comprised of 34 educators, focused on incorporating instructional technology throughout the 12 inquiry journeys executed this year. Additionally, the L&T team engaged in 66 Inquire Ed focused learning walks, specifically observing the integration of purposeful instructional technology experiences for students aligned to the inquiry journeys and their final inquiry products. We just highlighted sustained efforts where instructional technology tools are embedded and supported to promote aligned and enriching curricular programming in social studies. Next, let's explore our D205 cutting-edge library media programming. Elmhurst is host to some of the newest K-12 library media centers in DuPage County, and our library media specialists pave the way for innovative student experiences. Among the variety of experiences housed in our library media centers, I want to highlight Project Lead the Way launch. Our specialists engage students in up to 6 Project Lead the Way computer science modules that provide introductory and intermediate coding experiences. Some examples include the integration of instructional technology resources such as Scratch to introduce coding concepts like if-then statements and variables. Oftentimes, our students think of computer science as digital code, but our library media specialists also show students how computer programming includes physical manipulations to illustrate how computers create characters and distinguish between choices. Students use playing cards to code a human being and use beads to create binary code friendship bracelets. Our library media centers also serve as hubs for our community, as our library media specialists foster deep relationships with family by consistently encouraging PTA volunteers to assist with curating our physical book collection to ensure direct student support and programming occur uninterrupted. In addition to engaging parent volunteers, our library media specialists directly foster a deep community partnership with Elmhurst Public Library. This year, each elementary school experienced a field trip to the Elmhurst Public Library as part of our Wit and Wisdom aligned programming, including the first grade World of Books module, as well as through aligned research efforts. Also, EPL has engaged in 17 pre-K through 12th grade on-site school visits, supporting over 60 experiences aligned to D205 programming efforts. This year, our library media specialists have also welcomed 8 local and national authors. These visits are highlighted in the pictures on the right and include Newbery Award-winning author and one of our very own Elmhurst 205 students. Our efforts supporting Inquire Ed have also allowed us to continue fostering a strong partnership with the Elmhurst History Museum, and we're excited to share that over the next few years, the History Museum is set to offer 7 exhibits already aligned to our curricular offerings. Finally, I'd like to highlight the way our D205 L&T team is serving as a model for history education across the state. In partnership with Inquire Ed and the Illinois State Board of Education, D205 hosted our first ever Lunch and Learn, welcoming over 100 educators from across the state. As a leader in the state, our D205 Ellen team shared our journey with the implementation of revised 2022 social studies standards and curriculum implementation efforts to promote inquiry-based learning. Next, we'll take a look at emerging technology trends in District 205 and the supports we put in place to review, monitor, and provide new experiences for students and staff, specifically related to artificial intelligence. Early forms of artificial intelligence have existed in our district for a while, including the use of assistive technology tools such as text-to-speech, screen readers, and translation. As AI has advanced, so have its capabilities, and we now see AI capable of not just reading text, it's also analyzing it. As part of our partnership with Amplify, ELA teachers in 6th through 8th grade are leveraging Amplify's AI automated writing evaluation tool to quickly grade student work with an emphasis on focus, use of evidence, and conventions. These scores provide insight on the work students have completed and allow our educators to quickly identify understanding and offer targeted feedback. The AI-generated scores are not final, as teachers review each piece of work to ensure feedback is accurate and helpful. These AI tools are also capable of identifying individual and whole class trends for educators, allowing our staff to provide targeted support, adjust instruction, and further assist students in their writing instruction. Since 2023, D205 has intentionally monitored the emergence of AI. This year, we formed an artificial intelligence committee at York High School, comprised of 15 educators and administrators across 7 departments, including representation from the Transition Center. This team is focused on answering the questions, how does AI improve teaching and learning at District 205, and what are our expectations regarding staff understanding, implementation, and student learning outcomes? To support this work, we've engaged in summits, presentations, and conferences statewide and at a national level to engage in emerging research and deepen the AI knowledge of our building and teacher leaders. In addition, we've partnered with Maine 207 and led a session with Job-alike peers to discuss implementation, innovative ideas, classroom trends, and best practices when leveraging AI for student and staff learning. We are currently in the process of finalizing district guidance for the use of AI in school, as well as exploring additional resources to elevate teacher feedback to students through the use of AI. It's important to note our district is ahead of the game in terms of AI efforts. As a nation, only 25 states and their departments of education have official guidance or policy on the use of artificial intelligence in K-12 schools. If our state passes legislation, we'll be in strong position to move forward and ensure our efforts are continuously aligned to Illinois expectations. I want to thank you for allowing me to showcase the amazing impact our library media specialists, teachers, L&T, and technology teams do to promote experiences that enhance D205 student learning with the use of aligned instructional technology supports. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Rudy so he can highlight communication supports, safety and security, and upcoming summer projects. Thanks again.
Thank you, Nick, for those highlights. We're excited to pilot the new Power School Attendant Portal module in a pilot form currently in select elementary and middle schools, and this allows parents to easily submit absences online right from their Power School parent portal. The streamlined process improves communication and saves administrative assistance by reducing follow-up calls and manual data entry. And no, we're not using a real student up on that screenshot. It's one of our test students. So this began in August of 2023. A new Power School plugin module was released and reviewed by the information management team in collaboration with the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services to assess its value to our school community. Based on its potential benefits for both our community and administrative assistants, the district moved forward with a pilot. Pilot schools were selected in early September 2024, and training was provided to our administrative assistants. The pilot expanded in November, and following review of feedback in January 2025, 4 additional schools were added to the pilot. The district is currently evaluating the results and considering full implementation for the 25-26 school year. And here we have a video from Monique from Sandberg Administrative Assistance, and she will share her experience.
Good morning. I want to take a couple minutes to go over some of our new features that can be found in Power School for reporting absences. It's a new function that parents can find in their PowerSchool app. And on our end, we see it as a response to their entry. So initially, what parents can do is go into PowerSchool. And once they're in PowerSchool, they can click on the attendance function. They can future date their absence. They can do it for that day. They can put their time and, more importantly, put the specific reason. And on our end, as administrative assistants, what we see is their reasons, and we can reconcile those absences collectively or individually based on the reason. This new feature has been beneficial, and I know on parents, because I've had parents say thank you for that option. But for users, what we found that is parents are able to move forward and putting in what they need. But on our end, reconciling and taking the follow-up calls and having to do all that has become a lot easier. Good morning. I wanted to get...
All right, so thank you, Monique, for sharing your experiences. And just a reminder to the community, this is only available currently at select pilot schools. So I don't want every parent going to their PowerSchool portal tonight and checking it out. As cyber threats continue to evolve, safeguarding our digital infrastructure remains a top priority. This section outlines the proactive steps we've taken to enhance cybersecurity across the district, ensuring the protection of sensitive data and the integrity of our systems. The district has taken a phased approach, strategic approach to strengthening cybersecurity. Since 21-22 school years, efforts have included enforcing password policies, enable multi-factor authentication, and moving our student information system to the cloud. In school year 22-23, we emphasized user training and shifted staff to Google Drive. In school year 23-24, we added Google Single Sign-On for key platforms and completed a full penetration test. Most recently, we introduced passphrases for stronger user-friendly protection. The staggered approach reflects our commitment to proactive, robust cybersecurity. And just giving a look ahead at some of our summer projects, in addition to our Mac laptop deployment, we will be replacing all 3 middle school CAD labs, as well as a few specialty labs at York High School. Security updates will be provided across, and my team members just reminded me, we've already crossed the 700 camera count threshold, so we're over 700 cameras throughout the district. District-wide, updating the software on them. And all elementary schools will be getting new Wi-Fi access points, providing the latest generation of Wi-Fi connectivity in those schools. And thank you, that concludes the report.
Thank you. Questions and comments from the board? Nikki? Is it Nikki? It's
I am
Nikki.
so excited about this one.
Great.
No,
Have at it.
Mr. Gomez and Mr. Stoya's amazing presentation, so thank you for that. I'll just make a couple of comments and then a question. I think the AI piece is phenomenal. I mean, being in the workforce, we're using it all the time, so to see us adopting that and trying to find guidelines and build efficiencies in and finding ways that our students and teachers will be able to use it effectively, that is their future. So I think it's so important that we don't shy away from it, but we learn how to use it in an effective manner, which is great that we're getting ahead of it. I was surprised to see that only 25 states had identified guidelines so far. So again, really excited to see that we're in the front end of that. Additionally, the AI committee, I think that's just, again, phenomenal and really important to understand. Second, I know Dr. Campbell was seeing me like getting really excited about the PowerSchool attendance. That is so great. I mean, I think it should help with reporting. It increases efficiencies. I'm guessing it will decrease the amount of time that it takes the office staff and teachers and everyone to follow back up. My one question is when is it coming to Churchville? Because I see that it's being piloted at Sandburg, but no, I think it's great. So nice work, staying ahead of things.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking for full implementation starting in the fall, at the start of the school year.
just so I don't have to pull something off of consent, well, I've got you. So the items on consent talk about the actual purchasing of all of that equipment. It's right to assume that all those phasing in and all the new equipment that you're doing this summer and all that, that's what we're talking about voting yes for during the consent agenda tonight?
Yes.
The implementation and the
Exactly.
actual products of all of that?
Exactly.
Great.
Yep.
So all that stuff that you talked about is going to happen?
Mhm.
We're going to vote,
Correct.
hopefully, on consent tonight. We will vote yes.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. I had forgotten on my notes. I also wanted to highlight at the very beginning the community partnerships. Again, I think that is just wonderful that you've partnered with the public library and author visits, historical museum. I think it really helps us spread our resources and helps us just get a lot of benefit from partnering with our communities. So thank you for those.
I will just add about the partnerships. I'm so sorry. The work that has been done by Nick Stoyes and under Katie's leadership about ensuring also that there's alignment to our programming, which has been absolutely phenomenal. So not just sending kids to library, but their actual integration in having our units of study, having our curricular resources, knowing what those units are and supporting it. Also, that work is happening in our museum. So again, thank you for mentioning that, and a huge shout out to those community partners and their willingness to collaborate and to learn and help us grow our students right alongside our team is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for pointing that out.
I just wanted to take a second to elevate a little bit of the cybersecurity piece and the importance of, we're a very large district that withholds a lot of information, confidential, personal, right? And so knowing that that's an ever-changing environment and that there are many cyber threats in the world now, where it's no longer in your local, neighborhood, it is much larger than that of a playing field. I'm assuming, but you can confirm for me or not, that we're staying on top of learning and understanding what products and services are out there to ensure that we are protected from those cyber threats that at times happen to school districts and other organizations.
Yeah, great question. It changes so fast. But now a lot of these companies that help protect our email systems and all that, they are now employing AI to help in that process to determine threats at a much quicker level and how to react to that threat at a much greater level. And so we continuously evaluate those platforms on a yearly, throughout the school year as these platforms come online. So that's something we constantly have to have our pulse on because it changes. You can't keep using a security system that you used 3 years ago because things have changed so much.
Right.
And sometimes speed is of the essence.
Yes, and the prevention.
Correct.
Right? The efforts we put into prevention and detection.
Correct.
But mostly prevention and how we can protect ourselves from really unfortunate circumstances that happen in districts. So I'm glad to hear that it's an ongoing, always in review process for the district.
And in terms of prevention, we're fortunate with our cybersecurity consortium that we're with. They offer our partners or the people in the consortium, the schools in the consortium, free prevention tools that we're going to start taking advantage of, like free phishing campaigns. And that's something we're looking to do right off the start of the school year to remind staff, especially about what to be on the lookout for and educate a little bit more.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to C. You weren't kidding when you said they had big presentations. Monitoring, we are talking about monitoring progress and taking action. Thank you again, Rudy, and team for Nick's for your presentation tonight. Monitoring progress and taking action, instructional materials selection for adoption.
Yes, so we're back again with some instructional materials recommendations.
Is this the third one?
This is the third one.
The third one.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm going to make this a report because we had 2 lengthy presentations, and so thought that I would walk you through just kind of where we're at in form of a report instead of some slides. But happy to share more if you want to talk afterwards. But throughout the year, as you know, our school and district teams look at our student level data, both from the classroom level as well as our summative and state assessments, and identify opportunities to elevate both our instructional practices and our programming. Through this analysis, we've worked with the York High School team to identify 3 additional resources for use for next school year within social studies as well as for our English learners to elevate our programming. And I'm bringing forward those 3 resources for your recommendation. And then we will then subsequently put those materials on display. Thank you, Rudy. We have the materials on the website already posted today. And so all our public will be able to go to our website to view and give feedback for the next 30 days on these 3 resources. And then I will come back to you all on June 17th and share any feedback that we receive from the community, and then put these 3 resources forward for approval. And so the first text that I wanted to highlight in terms of programming for our social studies coursework at York is for the AP United States Government and Politics course. And the text is called American Government, Stories of a Nation. And this will be a replacement. The current textbook that we're using is no longer approved by College Board. And so we're putting forward a course-approved textbook. It is approved by College Board. So we are excited for that replacement and to elevate programming within that AP course. The next 2 texts, one is for our EL Intermediate course. It's a novel called Wonder, and this will be an additional text to support the already rich text set for our English language learners. So that will just add to that robust text set. And then finally, another text to support in our EL beginner coursework is a text about Gandhi, or called Gandhi. And so that is, again, another new text that will be added to the text set in that course. And so, again, public can view this on our website now for the next 30 days, provide feedback, and I will come back to you all on June 17th and share any insights that I glean from the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons. Okay. Sounds great. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from consent? Okay, can we have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
Yeah, I am Kelly, I suppose. I'm both Kellys tonight. Okay. I move that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda items: A, personnel report; B, financial report; C, FOIA Freedom of Information Act requests; D, 2025-26 breakfast, lunch, and milk fees; E, memo of understanding, DuPage ROE and Elmhurst Community Unit School District 205 for regional safe schools; F, student discipline improvement plan; G, approval resolution of appointment to DuPage Area Occupational Education System Board of Directors; H, Foundation 205 Mission Fund; I, approval of the property schedule, addenda, and ancillary documents to the master tax exempt lease purchase agreement with Apple Financial Services for a new 4-year tax-exempt, non-bank qualified lease and purchase in an amount not to exceed the current value of $553,581. J, approval of the property schedule, addenda, and ancillary documents to the master tax-exempt lease purchase agreement with Key Government Finance for a new 4-year tax-exempt, non-bank qualified lease and purchase in an amount not to exceed the current value of $792,112.14.
I'll second.
Motion made by Dr. Henry, second by Ms. Hassler. Can we please call the vote?
Dr. Henry?
Yes.
Mrs. Hassler?
Yes.
Mrs. Assif? Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Slawinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes, 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, motion passes. Moving on to the agenda action items. Item A is the approval of the 25-26 student handbook.
So annually, we bring an updated draft copy of the student handbooks for you to review and approve. We have not made super extensive changes. We brought these changes to you at the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee at the end of April. Really, these are primarily policy updates. The only thing that I will point out is that we anticipate more changes after our board policy meeting in June, and so those will also be incorporated into there, but we're asking for you to approve these this evening so that we can move them along in the process.
Okay, can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the updated 2025-26 student handbooks as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Hustler, second by Dr. Henry. Are there any comments from the board? I'll just say what Dr. Rubenstein just said. We did have a conversation about the handbook at the Parent Teacher Advisory Council. So there's information on that dialogue from the board there. Hearing nothing else, can we please call the vote?
Mrs. Hostler,
Yes.
Dr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewinsky,
Yes.
Mrs. Asif, Mrs. Troutman,
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites.
Yes, 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent. Motion passes. Item B is the Edward Elmhurst contract. Turn that over to Dr. Rubenstein again.
Yes, so we have a very unique partnership with Endeavor Health Edward Elmhurst Hospital, which provides nursing services for each of our schools. Our nurses are a vital part of our school program. Over the course of this school year, they have provided, we've had more than 45,000 health office visits across our 14 campuses. Those are tracked and monitored on a day-to-day basis. The needs of our students are unique and varied, and so we are bringing a contract forward this evening for which increases our costs 9.8%. Each of the nurses received at least a 3% base salary pay increase as a part of their work in our district. We're adding a small stipend for some of that record management piece, which has become all that more important, and then adding some staff to account for the number of substitute teachers. So while this is going up 9.8% overall, it will actually end up being smaller than that because we are spending money on our own right now related to substitute nurses, and so the actual increase will be a little bit smaller than that because we're adding those staff through the hospital.
Can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education authorize execution of the contract with Edward Elmhurst Health for school nursing services in fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $2,009,872.97.
I'll second. Oh, Ms. Troutman, thank you. Motion made by Dr. Henry, second by Ms. Troutman. Are there any comments from the board?
I have a question.
Yes.
So does I saw the FTE is higher in this contract. Does that account for the number of substitute nurses that we've been
Correct.
using? Okay.
Correct,
Great.
yes.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that this, I think we're the only school district that
Only
has
one,
this
yes.
relationship, right? And we are so fortunate. It wasn't 2 years ago that we were in a really precarious position to lose this opportunity for this to happen. So
yes.
Thank you for making sure this continues because we are super fortunate for our nurses in our buildings. The number of times we hear, ambulances and students being transported to hospitals and successfully healthy, but,
Yes.
So thank you, and I appreciate that.
That is really thanks to the leadership at in our district, but also really at the hospital. From the president of the hospital to the director of nursing services for the hospital, it is really a partnership, and they view it as such, and we do as well.
Yes, I was, Ms. Daniels and I was with the hospital today because of the community cohorts that we sit on and are part of. And once again, I had the opportunity to thank personally the president as well as the director over nursing and those staff members because this is a significant benefit to our school community and partnership with Edward Elmhurst Hospital. So I just want to underscore again how appreciative we are of this partnership.
Okay, can we please call the vote?
Dr. Henry,
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman,
Yes.
Mrs. Asif, Mrs. Lewinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan,
Yes.
Mrs. Hostler,
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites.
Yes, 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, motion passes. C, we have the approval of resolution to transfer $4 million from the Operations and Maintenance Fund to the Capital Projects Fund, and I think our friend Brent is here to talk about this.
Hello, Brent Brasky, the Director of Facilities. Thank you for the opportunity, and members of the board, we thank you for the opportunities for these funds to help us to continue making the schools a better place, to help that journey to empower, engage, and educate our staff or our students. We have many projects this year, from secure vestibules to parking lots at York, parking lots and areas at Churchville, with painting and HVAC unit replacements in parking lots and district-wide security updates. Those are some of the fundings that this money will cover this year, and so we would ask you to vote and pass for this.
Thank you. Can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the resolution to transfer money from the Operations and Maintenance Fund to the Capital Projects Fund in the amount of $4 million.
I'll second. Motion made by Mr. Troutman, second by Dr. Henry. Are there any comments from the board?
I'll just, once again, like I'm reflecting, I don't know, I'm very reflective tonight. But 5 years ago, we were not maintaining our buildings and our facilities every summer. 5, 6 years ago, we were not doing the work to keep our facilities up to speed with boilers and, you know, paving and HVACs and everything. And we found ourselves in the position where we were going to referendum to replace a lot of big problems, but also a lot of little problems. And so I think it's important for the community to know, people hear $4 million every summer. Well, that is going directly to the student experience, the student environment, our staff environment, and it's such an important maintenance responsibility to maintain. So it's big shoulders you've got over there. I know you have them to do it, but I think the community needs to know how important this really is for all of our buildings.
Go ahead, Bev.
Yeah, in addition to that, just want to just appreciate the work that's been done in looking ahead to what is going to need to be done and staying ahead of things, our 5 and 10-year plans, when we're going to need to replace boilers and when the lifespan of certain items, so that we know what to expect financially and we can plan and space those things out over time and we're not surprised or unexpected things. I mean, they're always going to come up, but it keeps that to a minimum. So really appreciate that work as well.
Thank you.
Anything else? Can we please call the vote?
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Dr. Henry?
Yes.
Mrs. Assip? Mrs. Lewinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hostler?
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes. 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent. Motion passes. Moving on to the next item is our superintendent communication. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, D205 highlights. I read the title, sorry.
Actually, my team is going to help me out with our highlights tonight. Ms. Leishel, you going to kick us off?
I am. So we wanted to take a minute and just highlight that last week, prior to graduation, York seniors had the opportunity to return to their elementary schools for the 2nd annual alumni walkthrough. So the halls were lined with all the current elementary school students to give them that celebratory clap out, sharing smiles, hugs, and memories as they reconnected with teachers, but also current students seeing what is in store for them in just 12 to 8 short years. This tradition was brought to life last year by our PTA, and we are so grateful for their partnership to be able to create this tradition, not only for current seniors, but also for our current elementary school students. Thank you.
I just want to say that I love this tradition and I hope that it continues forever. I saw so many pictures from my daughter's visit to Edison, and I think of all of the, not to downplay any of the other senior events, but out of all the events, I felt like the kids were just so excited, and it felt like they were like little kids again, and they were playing on the playgrounds, and they got to see their handprints, and they got, and the staff in the schools was so gracious to have, like, let them walk through and, talk to them and listen about what they're going to be doing next. And I just thought it was fantastic. And thank you to the PTA and the school staff for letting them do that. It's really great.
And I think there's so much push-in of our high school kids into the elementary schools. Like last year when they did it, I just saw so many little kids excited to see the seniors and like, oh, you were in my classroom, like the invite to teach, and like there's just so much push in from our students now. So I think they're just as excited. I saw some teacher posted the fifth grade clap out of the seniors and the clap out of the seniors this year. And so you saw all these kids in fifth grade and seniors. See, I was like.
Very reflective tonight, Courtney.
A community is so tight-knit that families are oftentimes going to sporting events at the high school, going to plays, and they see these kids, competing and doing different things, and then to, have them come to school. I think it's nice for the younger kids too.
There were autographs being signed at the school I was at. That was real. That's real. I'm now going to pass it over to Katie to share a little summer program preview and update.
Okay, well, there we go. All right, summer programming and resources. That was no drum roll. Well, it kicks off on Monday, June 2nd. And so we actually still have some folks still registering. So this is a push. On Friday, we're closing it because we really, it's probably should be closed already, but we are, very excited to offer academic and exploratory programming for our students again this summer. And we invite all of our families to join us. Just wanted to kind of highlight one that we had such a successful first year with last summer, which was our healthcare careers course that we're offering again this summer. And that's really designed for our students who are interested in learning more about careers in healthcare. And this is a very unique course. It was developed in collaboration with the College of DuPage, Kids Matter, and Elmhurst District 205. And it also provides an opportunity for our students to earn college credit through the College of DuPage. They also become certified in teen mental health first aid, and they hear directly from industry experts while they also get experience with healthcare firsthand. So would encourage folks to also sign up for that this second year as kids who are particularly curious about various healthcare roles. More information can be seen on our website, but get there fast because you got to register. We currently have, I just wanted to highlight, this was the first year in my last presentation, I think believe, if you're interested in going back and viewing it, it was January 14th where we did an overview of summer programming, and I did highlight the different financial shifts because of the ESSER funds not being offered to districts anymore. And so important for us to go back and see that. We are seeing a little bit of a dip in our summer acceleration courses this year and registration, and so we're going to dig into kind of the why that might be. But I did want to celebrate the fact that we had 44 families who applied for financial aid. It's a scholarship that D205 we budgeted for because we knew that ESSER funds were going away. 44 of our families applied for that, and we were able to grant our 44 families financial scholarships for that this summer. And so far, that's equated to $18,700 that we're really supporting our families. So encourage more families to fill out that application. Thank you, Courtney, for being a partner in that and supporting us. And so, continue to offer that and elevate if families are coming to you all and saying that they just might not be registering because of that burden. We'd encourage them to check out the application, and it's in the scholarship application is in the regular registration application. So again, we kick off on June 2nd on Monday, so thank you. And I will hand it back to Dr. Campbell. I will hand it back to Tanya.
Not yet. So, as you know, this last Sunday was graduation at York High School, where we celebrated the 2025 graduating class. And it was just a great opportunity to celebrate the culmination of their journey here in the district. One of the things that I wanted to point out about this is that the entire program is recorded. It was streamed, and so if anybody missed it or want to go back and catch your student getting their diploma across the stage, you can by going to the district's YouTube page, and it is currently pinned at the top of our YouTube page, and so anybody can go back and watch any or all of the graduation ceremony if you would like to. And then last but not least, we are excited to once again, Katie's gonna carry the banner in the Memorial Day Parade. So the parade will begin at 9:30 a.m. on May 26th, and we're excited. We have, isn't that your son, Joe? Yeah. So we have a lot of district administrators and their family that are looking forward to joining us, and we're looking forward to joining the marching bands in the Elmhurst Parade again this year. And so, you know, we invite everyone to come out and join us in the parade.
Okay, we'll move on to the communication highlight.
So the communications highlight, as we said, we celebrated the 2025 graduating class of York High School, and hot off the presses, never before seen, here's the recap video of graduation.
Great, and it was a wonderful send-off, thanks to York High School and all the administrators and staff who were not only there, but put in a tremendous amount of effort to make sure that the ceremony was a, what parents would all hope it would be for their children on their graduation day. Final congrats to the class of 2025. We look very forward to seeing what you will do in your future. We'll move on to.
Booked the only nice day in 2 weeks. Somehow managed to make that happen.
They did manage to make the weather stick around for that day. Okay, so we'll move on to board member communications. We have at least 2 updates and maybe more depending on where board members are at. Dr. Henry, would you like to start? Sure.
Just wanted to start by giving an update on our insurance committee. So the insurance committee is made up of all 3 union leaders, members from each union, admin, and 2 board members. And we met several times this past month to collaborate on ways to mitigate rising healthcare costs in efforts to reverse our negative health insurance fund balance while continuing to maintain the integrity of our employees' healthcare and benefits. Pharmacy remains a large factor in the rising healthcare costs, specifically GLP-1 drugs. I'm happy to share with you that through collaborative efforts of the committee, we have agreed to immediately enact a prior authorization for GLP-1s for those employees not currently on the drug. For employees who are currently on the drug, they can continue as they have until the end of December, when a prior auth will be required for them as well. A prior auth does not prevent an employee or their family from obtaining the medication, but ensures the members are receiving the drug based on current healthcare guidelines. In addition, yesterday, the committee met to discuss future plans to continue to mitigate the rapidly rising healthcare costs for our employees in the district. We continue to review pharmacy carve-out options that can have a significant cost savings, and the committee plans to regroup at the beginning of August to focus on two primary functions, one being the pharmacy carve-out options and the other being potential insurance plan design modifications that will provide cost savings for our employees while maintaining a quality healthcare package.
Thanks for the update, Dr. Henry. The other update for the evening is from yours truly, mine, thank you. Actually, Kelly Assef was, she's been working with our third-party auditor, who was hired by the board. Kelly Assef and former board member Kara Caforio worked with our attorneys and the company called Orba, who they spent months working on planning the third-party audit, but then also, working with them along the way to make sure that we were in the know of what was happening. So I wanted to take a moment to go through the summary key findings that were shared with Kelly and Kara and report those out to the board. So Orba's work, as directed by the Board of Education, began with gaining an understanding of our current accounting systems by reviewing financial functions and internal control policies and our procedures. More specifically, they reviewed the following related to P cards and purchase cards. The usage, approval, and processing of P cards, credit cards, and employee expense reimbursements. They reviewed the process for P cards used by facility personnel as compared to other employees to account for the requirements of facility personnel to make purchases quickly, to institute repairs throughout our district. And they also reviewed bill entry, reconciliation, approval, and payment processes. Once the Orba identified areas that were more susceptible to risk, the team implemented test transactions in those areas. After testing was complete, Orba provided a summary of their key findings. Those key findings and recommendations I'll go through very vaguely, or not vaguely, but I'll go through right now, but are also available in a memo to the board through our board docs. First key finding was really about P-card documentation. Orba recommended that the district store all P-card requests, communications, signed P-card usage agreements, and approvals for further use. In recent months, I want to make it clear that the administration, the current district administration overseeing this area of our finance department, has implemented this practice recommended by Orba, as well as a formal process for determining who receives a P-card in our schools, including a proper authorization review process before that card is issued. The district administration also continues to review, establish standard spending limits that are consistent across all departments and are in line with purchasing needs for those departments. Another key finding was around P-card spending and the approval process. The consultants recommended the district review and determine the proper number of approvers and supervisors who review statements, since they found some departments may have multiple supervisors reviewing, while other departments had fewer supervisors reviewing those statements. Current district administration, again, has examined the assigned approvers for each P card in the district and created consistency in the number of approvers for each card throughout the district. They have formally identified all approvers by department and communicated to the approvers what they are responsible for reviewing and why. The district has also reviewed and adjusted credit card spending limits and the number of users being issued a P card throughout the district. There were a few other items for future consideration that were offered by Orba. Those included taking a look at roles and responsibilities of different positions in our finance department to ensure that there's an appropriate amount of responsibility in the approval process. Given that we've had a few vacancies, the district administration, of course, did that work before posting the positions for fulfillment. They also recommended that we consider implementing a purchase order process for the Buildings and Grounds Department and an electronic process for P-card reconciliation to create efficiencies and internal controls, strengthen some internal controls. They also suggested we consider requiring P-cards to physically be held on district property. All of these are suggestions for future implementation, and those are being considered by our administration continually as we're moving through this, as they move through their daily work. Finally, the board considered a review of the bidding process used by the district. After receiving confirmation that the bidding process specifically related to the $168.5 million referendum was overseen by our partner, ICI, the board found no deviations from the bid process that would suggest a need to audit this area. The board members who were working with ORBA, that's where they fell on that one. So the board members working with our attorney in ORBA are pleased with the current administration's effort to swiftly implement improvements in our P-card financial systems and their efforts to minimize the risk of improper P-card use in our district. And we know that continuous improvement is a part of the fabric of the district's being and this administration's being, sitting at this table today. And so we know that moving forward, there'll be continual review of processes and procedures, identifying areas where we can strengthen and enhance, of course, to mitigate issues like the one that we experienced a little bit ago. Anything from the board on that? Yes, Courtney.
So just to clarifying summary question. So everything that ORBA suggested, the district has already implemented or is in the process of implementing?
So the recommendations that were made by ORBA have been implemented. And I will say also that, of course, timing is a factor here. So when the auditors came in and started doing the review, it was a credit to the current administration and people in our finance department who were already implementing and designing some of those changes. And so ORBA coming in, is a timing thing. They had already started that work. ORBA confirmed that they were on the right path with their recommendations. And then, yes, all their recommendations have been implemented. The only things that are a little bit outstanding are more of the items for consideration.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there are, I would assume, new policies and procedures in place, and have everyone that is authorized to use a P card, have they been trained on those new policies and procedures so that they know what it looks like now as opposed to what it's looked like?
Yeah, I would be careful to use the word trained. I think that they have been updated and it's been communicated with them in terms of those shifts in our practice to align with what the auditors had recommendations. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Upcoming, or anything else on board communication on any other topic from any board members? Nope. Okay, thank you. Upcoming meetings, May 28th, 2025, we have a special Board of Education meeting at 5:30 p.m. On June 4th, 2025, we have a policy committee meeting at 5:30 p.m. And on June 17th, 2025, we have a regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. All three meetings are held here at District 205 Center in room 215, 16, and 17. Making sure I'm not missing anything. Thank you. So here we are at 9:13, and we are adjourned. Thank you.